So, you find you've gotten tired of World of Warcraft, Dark Age of Crack-A-Lot, uh, let's see, Guild Worst, and several of the others, including like Rift, DDO. They're not cutting it for you anymore. Same old routine. If you like Minecraft, then you'll like some aspects of this game. If you're tired of waiting for Star Citizen to actually be released in a working game, and you've discovered all the boundless eternity of emptiness found in Elite Dangerous, then you might want to come over and try New World. Currently, there's New World Aetherium. I don't know how they want to pronounce it. Um, and they have one expansion. There's a couple of things you need to know about this, though. Military members deployed into Europe, you're going to have trouble accessing the game. If you have an American Steam, like myself, I have American Steam account, an American bank, an American Visa card, an American account, and all of that. But when I came into Germany to try to play the game, it would fail authentication. And come to find out, something that they did not mention during the early sales was that New World is regionally locked. And their only solution to me was, well, forget about the 7,000 plus hours or whatever, or 17,000 hours of game time that you put into the game. You're simply going to have to you're going to have to open up a European Steam account and rebuy all your stuff again that's regionally locked in order to play it, which means you've got to start everything all over. You can do a workaround with a VPN. I'm not sure if that actually violates the user agreement because, I mean, it's your account, you paid for it, but that's about the only option you have to look at if you are in Europe, stationed for 2, 3, 6 years, family, and so on, and you want to play the game. Either that or open up a different account and start all over again with a European account. They do have an EU server. They've got an East Coast server. They've got a West Coast server. And, okay, if you go and look at wrong thing. If you go and look at my YouTube, which is where you're at anyway, you're watching it. But if you go and you look at the Welcome 2025 and new PC, you can see the build for the PC that I'm using, and at which point you'll be able to tell the problems that you may be having with the game is not due to your computer. It is because all of the background stuff that Steam is running in order to collect all your data. It will significantly slow your system down, especially if, say, you're totally over, if you're on the, say, if you're in Hawaii and trying to connect to the West Coast. The latency and so on is going to be horrendous. Now, to fix this, what you've got to do, what I suggest people doing, is you go to your settings right at the very beginning, and we're going to go to video. Here, you would want to go to windowed mode. Okay? Cap your FPS. Most FPS runs fairly well at 60. Okay? If you're a high-end gamer and so on, like I really get into the graphics and stuff, this is a real bummer for me. However, you can go down and uncap it and it's going to reach its max. But using your GPU so much is going to be taxing on it. So I normally cap mine at about 100 for this game, simply because of the latency that I'm getting. Resolution scaling. If I turn my resolution scaling off because I'm using an AMD chip, then I have problems. So know if you've got AMD or not. I do set it for ultra performance. Okay. At least until I get the fiber optic put in. Okay, amount of sharpness, you'd want to set this at about a 5. If you're running NVIDIA, of course, you want to set that on boost, or at least on. I like a wide field of view. Of course, this is going to move you back from first, second, and third person. You do not get a God view in this. Not per se. Video quality. You can set the video quality manually and it will turn everything here. What I like to do is do it manually. So my effects, particles, and basically the spell flashes and stuff I have on low. Lighting detail medium, object detail medium. Post-processing I have it at high. Shadows I have it low. Shadows will take up a lot of your stuff. So if you move the shadows and the water details to low and then work up from there, you can find that sweet spot better. You can just move everything to low and then work each one up, checking your frames per second and so on. Down at the bottom, I have VSync turned on. I have the cap FPS and background turned on. And then I have it showing my frames per second. All the rest of this is fairly self-explanatory. You have your controller for your gameplay. Mouse and keyboard has 3 settings up here, including your controller bindings. So this is your basic settings. This goes to mouse and keyboard settings where you set up your hotkeys. And this can set up this. For those that like using a joystick, this game is, I think it's also what is it? You can use the 3D glasses and stuff with it. Escape key takes you out. And that's the basics of setting up the game. Once you get into the game, then depending on your location, how close you are to the servers, the use of the servers, I have had sometimes a 5-minute load time trying to get into this. Okay? So you may have to wait a bit. If you try to skip out of the sequence or anything, if you try to Alt-Tab or anything, it can cause it to freeze up. So let it do its thing. You'll notice it's covering my hot tabs down here. But I can Alt-Tab and it will bring it back up. See here? Because I Alt-Tabbed out, that's what happened. Okay. So we'll just go up here. I'm going to refresh. Make sure that it is set up. Give it a minute to catch up everything. You can tell a lot once your frames per second starts running and you've got a feed, then you know you're reconnected. So I had to reconnect. They will literally, they try to pull so much from your stuff. They want to know your IP, where you're at, what times you're playing, what your listing is. And if it continues to run in the background, if you're using Discord, if you're using TeamSpeak, if you're using Guild, whatever that you happen to be using, Overwolf, they want all of that data. And half of the damn data stream coming in and out, I honestly believe, is them doing nothing but tracking you and trying to garnish data, because that is actually more valuable to them than the $30 that you pay for the game, because they can sell that over and over and over, and that's part of your end user agreement. Okay, people worry about, oh, they're putting tracking devices in needles, and when they give us injections, or they give us vaccines and so on, they're putting little micro trackers and so on. They don't need that crap, people. You've got an automatic tracker that they track everything that you do. It's called your smartphone. It's called online gaming. It's called social media, Facebook, all of that. They get more from you from that than any kind of little thing that they could stick in your bloodstream or under your skin. So if you're having trouble with it, that's probably the issue, and you're going to have to go in and make your own adjustments according to your needs behind the screen, okay? And, you know, if you suddenly put a program on that stops them from getting your downloaded data and so on, I just about bet you're going to get a nasty gram going, you've been banned because you violated our terms of user agreement. Okay? So, just be aware of that. Now we're going to go make a character and get into this. And we're going to be going step by step all the way through. I'm going to show you the longest, most tedious, most precision-driven aspect of the game. You can either run in, just do all the quests and everything and level up. It's level 60 with Aeternum. It is level 65, I believe, with the expansion. It's just, okay, there's different ways to play this. Survivalist mode, crafting mode, guild mode, world dominance, PvP, arena. There's a lot in this game, okay? And it just depends upon your game style. My game style is I like to beat the game. I'm not here for the PvP and so on. I want to get every bit of the game out of it that I put my money in for. So I take a survivalist crafter's approach. And we'll get on with that, and let's create a character.